Coming up on Global Business, strengthening ties. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz is in Shanghai, the second leg of his 3-day trip to China. Showcasing innovation, and the biannual Canton Fair kicks off in southern Chinese city of Guangzhou. We bring you the highlights. Hainan Expo, the China International Consumer Products Expo, has entered its third day on the island province of Hainan. From CGTN headquarters in Beijing, this is Global Business. I'm Lily Lu. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz is in Shanghai, the second stop on his 3-day visit to China. He has visited Tongji University, which was founded by a German doctor in 1907 and leading polymer producer Covestro Germany. It is estimated there are over 5,000 German companies operating in China, a majority of which are located in the Yangtze River Delta region. A survey published in January by the German Chamber of Commerce shows over 90% of German companies operating in China plan to remain in the country. Scholz is also expected to meet with officials in Shanghai before heading to Beijing. Our reporter Chen Tong has more.
Accompanying the German leader is a large delegation of representatives from well-known German firms. The heads of German automakers Mercedes-Benz, BMW, technology firm Siemens, elevator maker ThyssenKrupp are part of the high-profile group. Almost all of these conglomerates have their offices in Shanghai or operate factories in nearby cities.
It's always a very nice occasion to come to Shanghai. There's a lot of business over here, and of course we have many employees here. We have been visiting already during this year, visiting Shanghai a couple of times, and it's always important. It's a huge business area.
Well, I mean, number one is coming to China. We are already working for a long time with our customers here in China. We have long-term relationships. And the main message would be that technology is changing so fast. There's no company, no country in the world who can master all the technology challenges alone.
German Chancellor Olaf Scholz had a packed schedule in Shanghai and had no plans to stay overnight in the city. Though there are some people in Germany saying the country relies too much on the Chinese market, all evidence has shown that Scholz is determined to continue cooperate with China. And here in the Yangtze River Delta region, there are huge business opportunities welcoming these German firms. Chen Tong, CGTN, Shanghai.
And now for more on German Chancellor's visit to China, let's talk to Mr. Zhou Mi, Senior Research Fellow at the Chinese Academy of International Trade and Economic Cooperation. Mr. Zhou, so what kind of concrete outcome can we expect from this visit?
We know that China and Germany, when we have the premier levels conclusion conservation, in the past there are so many outputs in the past several years. So both countries are trying to strengthen the cooperation and also the mutual understanding about many issues. So I expect that with Scholz's visit to China, he is trying to send several signals to the market with the interview of the enterprises and also to talk with academia. And at the last, I think that the discussion with the Chinese officials will make it a better environment for both countries to looking about how can we have some opinions about the world and how can we cooperate in the future.
And also, in 2023, German investment in China actually set a new record. What is behind this?
China and Germany, we are manufacturing countries, so we have so many complementary cooperations. While in the past several years, China has opened our market, especially for the manufacturing. I hope that many of the Germany companies want to grasp the opportunities to stay here in China and benefit by the opening up and also strengthen their abilities in the global supply chains in the world.
Also, we know that green development is one of the key drivers of China-Germany collaboration. So how do you think the two economies actually complement each other in this green transition?
You know, when the chancellors came to China, before he came here, he attended the North Sea Summit in these areas. They're talking about the offshore, the wind turbines. I believe that Germany really needs some of the support from China because we have a very strong abilities to produce those turbines and also any other machines. I mean, it is also true for the EVs. So we hope that there are so many things that both countries can cooperate by the merge of the market and also improve the technology applications in this regard.
We know that Scholz's visit actually follows that of U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, who confirmed that the U.S. is not seeking to decouple from China economically. What role do you think the economic relationship between China and Germany, which is the EU's economic powerhouse, play in a global economic system at this critical timing?
It is a very important time for the world is facing so many challenges. The challenges are not only coming from the climate change, but also from some of the actions in the different economies. So I think that Germany and China, we are also very stick to the promises in the multilateral systems. So we are trying to cooperate in the multilateral system and also bilaterally. I mean, the cooperation between us will strengthen the supply chains in this world and also benefit the other countries along the global supply chain with us.
Well, great insights. Thank you very much, Mr. Zhou Mi, Senior Research Fellow, Chinese Academy of International Trade and Economic Cooperation Trust. And still to come here on Global Business. We take you to the Hainan Expo. That's the China International Consumer Products Expo. It has entered its third day today, which is on the island province of Hainan.
The Asia Pacific's largest consumer products exhibition is back.
Over 4,000 global consumer brands converge
to showcase their latest and most unique products.
We're at the forefront of China's evolving consumer trends.
To show you how businesses are leveraging China's rapidly expanding consumer market for growth.
At the China International Consumer Products Expo.
The 135th Canton Fair, or China Import and Export Fair, has just opened in China's southern city of Guangzhou. It is China's oldest and also the most exhaustive international trade fair. Hundreds of thousands of international buyers have registered to participate in this fair. International exhibitors from across the globe are also pouring in. Cao Zhufen spoke to some of them.
It's 9:10 on Monday, the first day of the Canton Fair. The door opened about 10 minutes ago. And if you look here, you can see a lot of people are lined up here waiting to get inside the venue. Many of them are international buyers coming from around the world, and many of them have been waiting here for more than half an hour. This is what it looks like for every session of the Canton Fair.
As of 2 days ago, nearly 150,000 buyers from 215 countries have registered to participate in the fair. The number of buyers from Belt and Road partner countries has seen a spike of 45.9%.
Sun is inside.
Enmar Waya is a buyer from the UAE. He's been coming to the Canton Fair for nearly 2 decades. And for the last 2 sessions, he's been bringing his son to the event.
Yes, I bring him here to see the environment and to continue our company relation with Chinese supplier.
It's very interesting, and every year we see many innovations happening here.
And I like to deal with the Chinese supplier, frankly, because I feel positive and also lucky, frankly. When I get something from here, I can get profit, good profit for my company.
This time, the number of buyers coming from America has also seen an increase of 21.4%. Michael Kersey's family owns a 130-year-old American company. He's also a regular Canton Fair buyer. I asked him about his impression of Chinese-made products.
The Chinese manufacturing is fantastic. We've been here, and it's been getting better every year. Just doing business here in China gets easier every year.
Majority of the exhibitors participating at the Canton Fair are Chinese suppliers. But international exhibitors are also there, spreading over an area of 3,000 square meters. 680 international companies are participating at this session, and their origin countries and regions have extended from last session's 43 to 50 this time.
Why we attended to Canton Fair? We are interesting to see our customers, because we know all of our customers, they preferring to come to China for Canton Fair.
China vows to continuously adopt an opening up policy and seeks willing cooperation with other countries. Some recent measures including introducing more visa-free entry policies and an increased number of international flights. Because of these, experts believe we might be seeing a substantial number of international buyers and deals made by the end of this Canton Fair session. Cao Chufeng, CGTN, Guangzhou.
China's first major international trade fair of the year is underway in Haikou, the capital of South China's Hainan province. Today is the third day of the China International Consumer Products Expo. The expo features more than 4,000 brands from over 70 countries and regions. And this year, the UK's Department for Business and Trade is boosting Britain's presence at the expo with its first national pavilion. The UK's pavilion showcases 14 brands from the luxury goods, fashion, nutrition and health and beauty sectors. So Helsak, Deputy Trade Commissioner at the UK Embassy in China, said that British enterprises see strong potential in China's market.
A huge consumer market, a market that's growing, so it is of great interest to all UK companies. So we definitely want to find more cooperation with Chinese companies. Some of these brands are new to the China market, some want to grow further in the market. We also want to interact with the consumers who visit the show to understand more about consumer trends and what they think of our products.
Now let's talk a bit more about this topic and as well as China-UK economic and trade relations. For that, we cross over to our correspondent Li Jianhua in London. Hi there, Jianhua. So what can you tell us about the UK's first delegation in the Hainan Expo?
Yes, Lily, the Department for Business and Trade will set up as the first UK pavilion at the Hainan Expo in its history so far. We understand that 14 UK luxury and lifestyle brands will be present at the UK pavilion, featuring, as you said just now, luxury goods, fashion, nutrition, health and beauty companies from all across the UK. And the DBT, that's the Department for Business and Trade again, has been calling on UK businesses and companies to explore the Hainan Expo, which is considered the largest consumer products expo in the Asia-Pacific region, and to explore the retail landscape in China. It's also an opportunity, according to the DBT, for the British business professionals to meet potential Chinese buyers and partners, and also to take part in the so-called Meet the Buyer events in Shanghai and also in Hainan. We know Shanghai, that's the whole city of CIIE, China International Import Expo. It's not only those two expos. We know that the Canton Fair is also underway, as you said just now. And we understand that the China-Britain Business Council is partnering this year with the DBT to organize the UK pavilion. And 3 weeks before the Hainan Expo took place, a group of British business professionals organized by the CBBC gathered in London to talk about their trade relations with China amid the current geopolitical tension between China and the West in general. And Bim Aflami, a member of parliament, said to the event that you can't ignore China when it comes to trade. Let's take a listen.
Today, the UK-China trading relationship stands at over £100 billion and is growing. And this government is committed to engaging constructively with the Chinese government and with the Chinese business community and with the Chinese people, as well as cooperating on shared priorities. When it comes to global affairs, you cannot ignore China. When it comes to the size of the Chinese economy, you cannot ignore China. And therefore it is necessary and right to engage together and work closely to solve shared challenges.
Lily, we know that China and the UK have enjoyed rich and historic trade ties in the past. About 70 years ago, a group of British business professionals started their so-called ice-breaking mission to China, which restarted the business ties between the new China and the UK in the past. So the British government, though, recently described China as a so-called epoch-defining and systemic challenge to the UK. Business is business. China is now the 5th largest trading partner of the UK. Back to you.
Great stuff. Thank you very much. That's our Li Jianhua in the UK. Well, this year's guest of honor of the expo is Ireland. It is taking the opportunity now to showcase its whiskey at the China International Consumer Products Expo. Our correspondent Ken Brown visited a premium whiskey producer on Ireland's east coast to find out more.
County Wicklow. Known as the Garden of Ireland, Wicklow is famous for its soaring mountains, crystal waters, pure fresh air and 1,000 shades green. An inspiration to the country's painters and poets, the Sugarloaf Mountain dominates the skyline. A picture-perfect backdrop to the historic Powerscourt estate. It's impossible to imagine a better setting for an Irish whiskey distillery. Whiskey that's on show at the CICPE in Hainan.
All the water that goes into our whiskey is mountain water running down into our aquifer underneath the distillery. So very much location is important to us. We're delighted to be taking part in the show at Hainan. It's a great opportunity for us to showcase our brands.
Powerscourt is part of a revival of Ireland's ancient whiskey tradition and has invested over $20 million in a distillery and visitor centre that only opened in 2019. Unlike industrial mass-produced whiskies, here small batch artisan pot stilled or grain Irish whiskey aged peacefully, gracefully. 500,000 tourists visit Powerscourt Estate each year and a whiskey tasting is a must. Now China is increasingly raising a glass to premium Irish whiskey too.
An Irish whiskey has a lovely, soft, smooth, sweet flavour profile, which is appealing to people all over the world. We're seeing great growth in China over the past few years. Considering we only launched 3 years ago in China, we're now the third largest Irish whiskey brand by sales value in China.
Ireland once ruled the whiskey-producing world, but a failure to move with the times and technology saw it fall behind to Scottish brands, and at one point, almost disappear completely. Now, new distillers like Powerscourt are rekindling a fire for Irish whiskey once more. Whiskey's origin story is believed to have started here in Ireland when monks brought distilling techniques back from their travels around 1,000 years ago. Now Irish distillers are looking east to a brand new burgeoning middle-class market. In China they say Ganbei, but here in Ireland it's Sláinte. Ken Brown, CGTN, Wicklow.
China, which is Lamborghini's third largest market, has become a focal point for the luxury car brand's strategic initiatives. At the ongoing China International Consumer Products Expo, a Lamborghini executive shed light on the new consumer trends in the Chinese market and how the company tailors its approach to cater to the distinctive preferences of Chinese consumers.
Know that China is Lamborghini's third largest market. How will the company cater to the specific needs of its Chinese consumers?
We are looking very carefully at the needs of our Chinese customers, which are quite special to the rest of the world because they are younger and there are more females in comparison to the world average. We are focusing on the marketing platforms that are specifically made for China in order to have a good interaction with our customers here in China. And on top of this, of course, we are monitoring the trends of the Chinese market that is very much advanced in the areas of digitalization, infotainment. So we are looking at what is happening on the Chinese market.
And you mentioned Chinese consumers here are younger and more females. Could you elaborate a bit more about the trends happening?
Well, I can give you just one number. I think it says a lot. The average Chinese customer for Lamborghini is 10 years younger than the average customer in the rest of the world. And generally speaking, we very much appreciate the fact that there are more and more female drivers, not only in the super SUV, but also in our super sport cars.
China and Germany are joining forces in agriculture to cultivate a greener future. By sharing knowledge and expertise, along with the support of companies, they're paving the way for a more secure and sustainable food system for the future. Aaron Liu has more.
China and Germany has a good track record for agricultural collaboration. Bayer, we're a life science company. We have business in healthcare and agriculture. Globally, our business in healthcare and agriculture is about 50% versus 50%. But that ratio in China, where today 90% healthcare versus 10% of agriculture. So I think in agriculture, we have more potential and more work to do.
One of the world's leading manufacturers of agricultural machinery, Claas, is headquartered in Germany. The company offers a diverse range of products in China. Zhang Jinwang, the company's managing director, shared his thoughts.
We see many potentials in food security, in the climate change, in sustainable agriculture, and the green agriculture. In this area, we see there is a development potential in China. There are technologies available in Germany, and there are also areas where both countries can benefit. For example, green agriculture. For example, digital farming or smart farming, where really both countries can benefit.
So I think a lot has been happening, especially in the area of research, with institutes from Germany and China collaborating on very important issues together. To give you just some examples, for example, in the city of Potsdam, there is a German institute, the ATB, which is working together with the Chinese Academy of Agricultural Sciences on issues related to animal-friendly agriculture, tackling manure, tackling emissions. And together, researchers from both institutes are also working on the IPCC report, drafting important international policies, which shows what can be achieved when both countries work together.
Experts also say that what the plan makes clear is that both Germany and China share a common goal, which is to ensure food security, providing sufficient, healthy, nutritious food to everyone, while at the same time protecting our natural resources.
The transformation towards a sustainable agri-food system that provides sufficient and healthy food for all while protecting our natural resources requires joint action. The Sino-German Agricultural Center has proven an invaluable platform to promote cooperation on sustainable agriculture between Germany and China and work towards joint solutions. Aaron Liu, CGTN, Beijing.
Let's now take a look at what else is making headlines in the business world. Gold prices firmed on Monday, hovering near record high levels hit in the previous session as traders kept a close eye on developments surrounding the Middle East conflict, prompting safe haven buying of assets such as bullion. Hungary's government will consider whether to enforce lower fuel prices after a review by the Central Statistics Office of regional average price levels. Economy Minister Martin Nagy last week put pressure on fuel suppliers to cut petrol station prices close to the Central European average as part of wider government price-setting innovations after the worst inflationary surge in the European Union. And the Swedish government said its spring budget that it needs to start shifting to a more expansive fiscal policy to boost growth now that inflation has begun to subside. Measures include an additional 6 billion crowns for health and welfare services and more money for defense and the judicial system. 59 publishers from Chinese cities like Beijing, Shanghai, and those in Hebei and Zhejiang provinces set up shops at a recently concluded Paris Book Festival. Over 1,000 Chinese books were on display and up for sale, with more than 40% of those books translated into French. Ross Cullen has more from Paris.
From prose writers to philosophers, poets and dramatists, France's writers are internationally renowned, and the national love of literature was on show at this year's Paris Book Fair. It's a festival of culture and reading, with book signings and writing workshops. There are many different nationalities represented at the fair. One of the overseas stands celebrated Chinese literature. Author Ye Mi explained why she has focused her work on the story of women in China.
Because after China's reforms and opening up, women's economic status is improving and their awareness of their own independence is strengthening. Also, when I wrote this novel, I was going through menopause and I felt that I should write about a woman. This was a gift to myself.
Like France, China also has a rich literary tradition, from lyric poetry to drama and fiction. Some of the country's top authors were invited to the fair.
What is described in this novel is actually a very contemporary small village in China. It was originally a traditional farming village, and now it has become a cultural tourism type village. In small places, the changes in people's emotions, moral changes, and changes in human nature between neighbors are very interesting.
The book fair does not just celebrate publications, but also the art of writing in French. Dictation is a classic elementary school test, and a mass spelling exercise took place as part of the 3-day event. Mixing politics and literature is common in France. Former President Nicolas Sarkozy, far-right figurehead Marine Le Pen, and the current finance minister Bruno Le Maire are just some of the politicians who are also published authors. Despite the popularity of podcasts and the success of e-books and audiobooks, the French are still committed consumers of stories told in hard copies. Ross Cullen, CGTN, Paris.
Italian companies with business ties to China says that Chinese government's trial of visa-free travel will help to boost exports. This initiative is expected to also enhance tourism. Airport authorities in Rome predict 2024 will be a record year for travel between the two countries. Hermione Kitson reports.
Giovanni Mazze's family has been in the winemaking business in the heart of Tuscany's Chianti Classico region since 1435. And he says passion is the key to centuries of success.
So I can say that we've been devoted for over 25 generations to the Sangiovese and to the territory.
China is one of the brand's top 10 export markets, and before the pandemic, 50,000 bottles were sent there each year.
We've invested a lot in the market. I used to live in Asia, in Hong Kong, and I started developing China myself. So I think the fact that we're spending more time there, it really helped us to understand more and to know more of the Chinese culture.
Livio Mazzanti is the brand's China area manager. He says they're yet to return to 2019 numbers, but that China's visa-free travel initiative will improve business as it will cut paperwork and lengthy processing times.
The Chinese government introduced a good strategy because for us it's much easier to go to China because we can take the first flight available.
I think it's a great benefit. And I think we will see big returns from this.
Italy is among 11 European countries involved in the trial of 15 days of visa-free travel to China. The last 4 should be added to the list, include Austria, Belgium, Hungary and Luxembourg.
It's hoped simplifying travel to China will not only boost business but also tourism. Last year there was a surge in interest in China as a holiday destination, and now there are currently 35 flights per week from Rome to 9 different destinations.
Authorities at Rome's Fiumicino Airport believe 2024 will be a record year for Chinese travel.
Now, at the beginning of 2024, in the period between January and February, we are strongly growing compared to 2019 levels, and we got a plus 60% in terms of seats offered, capacity offered.
The one-year trial is expected to end in November. Hermione Kitson, CGTN, Rome.
And that'll do for this edition of Global Business. I'm Lily Lu in Beijing. Thanks for watching. Till next time. Bye for now.